welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today it's gonna be something a little bit different. It's just me talking about how streaming has kind of helped my mental health in the last year. I'm making this video for a couple of reasons. First of all, I've just hit 1,000 subs on YouTube. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in so far. I'm also coming up to my 1 year Twitch streaming anniversary, and on top of that, it's currently Mental Health Week, Mental Health Awareness Week, I should say. So there was kind of a lot of things that kind of combined that made this the right time to make this video, and this is something that's been on my wanting to do as a video list for a while, and I was never really sure how to approach it or when or how or why. I think why is probably obvious. So here we are. I'm making it, I'm doing it. I don't really have a plan. I'm just gonna talk and tell you a little bit about my experiences, I guess. I should say right at the top of the video that this is all about my personal experiences. I'm not saying that streaming will fix your mental health. We've all got different things that we're dealing with, and there are different ways of dealing with them and handling your situation. This is not you should do this to get better. This is more of me talking about my own personal experiences and how things have affected me in the last year. So I've had mental health, I guess, issues, I don't know, since I was a teenager at least. I've never been officially diagnosed with anything, but you know yourself sometimes when things aren't great. When I was a teenager, for example, there was a time where I thought I might be bipolar, just because there's somebody in my family who's bipolar. I know that sometimes it can be a genetic thing, but also I was very up and down. But looking back, it was probably, and even at the time, I kind of assumed it might be down to hormones because I was a teenager as well, and maybe that just exasperated the kind of up and downness that I have anyway. I feel like I can still be like that now, but it's overall I think I'm a lot more even, and I think I can handle it better nowadays, I guess. I also stay away from certain triggers. I do drink, but I don't drink too much. Some people think that's weird because I'm half Irish and half German, but I get it now, even when I do drink too often or too much, that it kind of comes back and I get really depressed and stuff. So I try and stay away from triggers like that, that I know exasperate certain aspects of depression or otherwise. But anyway, going back to the whole streaming thing, I started streaming almost a year ago, or I might have started streaming exactly a year ago actually, but I became affiliate almost a year ago. And yeah, it's sorry, there's birds outside that really distracted me there. It's been a journey, I guess, in some ways. My day job is working on YouTube, not on this channel, but for a board game YouTube channel, and I started doing that about probably 9 months prior to starting my own Twitch channel, and that was my first kind of wade into the kind of this area of life, this whole broadcasting, whatever you want to call it, thing. So I was still quite new to the industry, and even skills wise, I got my job mostly because of my knowledge of board games and because of my, I guess, personality, not so much because I had any experience in any video stuff like video editing, live streaming. I didn't have any experience in any of that, so that was very much learned on the job in those first 9 months. And even about 6 months into my new job was when the first lockdown, COVID lockdown, happened, and so I was remote all of a sudden, and I didn't have, I guess, the direct support of my colleagues who are a lot more experienced in that area than me. So I started streaming around the same time when a lot of of my peers were kind of starting off Twitch channels. I guess because we're all in lockdown, a lot of people took up hobbies or new avenues, new creative avenues or productive avenues to explore. And I saw a lot of my peers making these Twitch channels, and I think previously first of all, I'd never really considered it, but also I wasn't aware that we were kind of allowed to do that outside of our everyday jobs. So I decided to start and then kind of hop on the hype train, as it were. Little Twitch reference for you there. And I started my own Twitch channel, and it was really bad quality to begin with. I was literally doing it off my Mac book, which if you ever work with MacBooks and you're a streamer, you'll know that's not ideal. I also had used my housemate's camera, which is super grainy and bad, and you could barely see me, and there was my mic was all over the place. Anyway, it was a thing. So a lot of my first few months of like Twitch streaming was actually really beneficial to me, actually in my work life. While previously I had done like live streams for my day job, it was mostly my colleagues who kind of dealt with the back end of things. Because we only did it once a week, and we were usually together, they would just kind of quickly handle it, and I never really spent any time like learning about that area of things. So having my own Twitch channel and having to, do all that stuff myself, I quickly learned a lot of stuff, and I'm still learning. Almost a year later, I'm still th- technology in general, I'm just not very good at. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey. Now, getting down to the nitty gritty, the mental health thing. When I started streaming, and until very recently, I was doing about 5 streams a week on top of my full-time job, which if you work in this kind of industry, you'll know can be a lot sometimes because you're on camera and you're on this whole time. And then I was doing that essentially again in my own time in the evenings or weekends on my own channel, on top of like the time that I was spending, behind the scenes, kind of working on Twitch, on streaming things behind the scenes that I mean, again, if you're a streamer or have ever dabbled, you'll know that there's just a lot of stuff that people I think sometimes forget that you're doing in the background. So even if you're not directly on camera talking to them, there's always things to do, emotes to make, or I don't know, lots and lots of different things. So yeah, I was doing 5 days a week and I loved it. And for me, it was, I guess, in previous years, I had my creativity had kind of been subdued, I guess. I'd worked not in the direct creative sectors of companies and things like that. And whenever I kind of voiced any kind of creativity, it was like, I wasn't a creative. So I wasn't really listened to, I guess, in some ways, and I never really got to express myself or do things. And even like working my day job, there's obviously an element to like express yourself, but at the same time, you're still working as part of a team and working for a bigger company. So there are sometimes limits, or there's more like hoops to jump through, I suppose. So having this avenue where I could like just have ideas and just do them like whenever I felt like it, however long I felt like it, in whichever format I felt like it, was like really freeing to me. It meant that I could just like channel all this like, I guess, creative frustration I've had for years and just like make things that I wanted to make. And I still have that. I constantly have ideas. And I dropped down to streaming about 3 days a week quite recently because I started burning out a bit, about 8 months into doing this whole 5 day a week thing. I started burning out a bit, burning out a bit, and I decided to take a little bit of a backseat and give myself more time to do that background stuff that I wasn't getting time to do, and also start a YouTube channel. So I post here once a week now, and I can only do that because I kind of took a backseat from streaming a little bit. So yeah, it gave me an outlet to do all the things I wanted to do. Also to work with people I've always wanted to work with, and like who maybe weren't necessarily part of the industry that I was already working in terms of like they weren't necessarily in the board game sector, for example. So I could work with people who in my day job it maybe didn't make any sense for me to work with, or not as much sense, I should say. And it kind of like at points there was like even 5 days a week didn't feel like enough because I had so many things I wanted to do and so many ideas. I was like, I need more days. I need to stream more. But as I say, about 8 months in, it all got a bit much, and I realized that no, I need to stream less. I need to stream less. If I want to have a life and also be able to do some other creative things outside of streaming, then I need to just do less. Now, I mentioned I started streaming kind of, I say shortly, about 3 months into the first UK lockdown, I should say, for COVID. I'd moved house a couple of months before, and I kind of had a space, I guess, to actually set up as a stream area. I'm not gonna lie, I mean, people who know me on this YouTube channel will know what my day job is and where I work, and there was times where I was quite unhappy in my day job, and I had spoken to people that I work with, so they are aware of that. Again, streaming and the whole Twitch thing kind of gave me almost like a little safety net where I felt like if there's a day where I'm like, you know what, I can't do this anymore, it kind of felt like there was an option for me to explore something else. And having that is again really freeing, because I've been in situations several times in my life, because I've had a lot of jobs, where you work in a job that maybe you're not enjoying, or maybe you, I don't know, for whatever reason, sometimes you can be stuck in that. Maybe it's because of your conditions at home. Maybe, maybe you've got a family that you need to look after or whatever. For me, obviously, that there would have been different reasons down the line. It can be incredibly harmful to your mental health to stay in that kind of scenario, I guess, to feel trapped. And it's not a great place to be in. So having this thing that I was doing, that I was working on, that I was pouring all my creativity into, that was all mine, and knowing that if there was a day where I was like, do you know what, I'm going to separate myself from this situation that I was unhappy in, that there was something I could kind of like just take on like as a full-time thing, I guess. And so that was already one thing that kind of helped me and was very helpful and calmed the mind. There's also part of that, and I feel like there'll probably be people who have different experiences or disagree or feel the opposite to me. There would be days when I would be having a low mental health day. Wouldn't really want to be on camera. I wouldn't really want to, because as I say, you're on, right? You're like you're yourself, but you're like a bigger version of yourself and a more lively version of yourself. And most importantly, I guess not most importantly, but I guess in my experience, certainly in the early days, I was always like the happy version of myself. I wouldn't come on and be like, hey, I'm depressed, like blah blah blah. Even though I totally could do that, and my community would probably be supportive enough for me to be like, hey guys, I'm having a shit day. So there would be days where I wouldn't be in the right mindset, or I would feel like I wasn't in the right mindset. There was even a day where I felt like I was having what I assumed was a panic attack. I've never had a panic attack, and I assumed it was one just from what I've heard it feel like being described as feeling like, as in like it's hard to explain. Yeah, it didn't feel great. And I was like kind of almost ready to cry. And then we went live, and this was a stream that I was doing with other people. And all of a sudden, we had to be on and like pretend to be happy, essentially, if you weren't happy. And 2 hours later, after the stream, I turned it off and whatever, and I actually genuinely felt better. And I was really glad that I did that stream and went on with those people, because that time actually helped me. And I guess I think it might have been a mixture of pretending to be okay, and also just like the people I was with that cheered me up. And by the end of it, I was like, "Oh, I do feel better." And I think if I hadn't done that stream that day, I would have just kept feeling that like that for a while longer, and I wouldn't have had anything to kind of pull me out of that rut. And I've had a few times like that where I haven't exactly had, like, not as extreme like that, not a panic attack kind of situation, but where I felt really, really down and really not up for the task. And I was like, let's just do it anyway. Most of the time when I do that, I end up feeling better because my chat has I guess I'm quite lucky that I have a community that is always trying to lift each other up and lifts me up as well, and makes me laugh and just can get me out of that kind of rut that you can find yourself in. Having said that, there's also been days where I've decided to go ahead and stream, and then during the stream felt like still wasn't up for it, and then I call the stream short, or see it through to the end, and that was a bad idea. But for the most part, I think when I feel like I'm not up for it, even though I've already started, I'll just say, look guys, I need to go. I need to call it. I just need to step away. And again, I'm very lucky to have a community who supports me and is very, I guess, not just aware of like this kind of mental health stuff, but like very supportive of it. And a lot of people in my community either suffer with mental health stuff themselves, or are like, I guess, have friends and family who do. So everyone's very understanding and supportive. And so that's I think a big part of why streaming, I guess, has helped my mental health in the last year, because I have this like incredible support. Now, I say obviously that I have pushed myself on some days when I didn't feel it. There's also been plenty of days where I've just said, hey guys, I can't stream because I'm just not up for it. And that's something that I find it quite hard to do, because I feel quite guilty. I feel like I'm letting people down. I think I've come to recognize that that's incredibly important to do sometimes. I don't think anyone, again, in my community, I can't speak for everyone else. I think everyone's understands and is very supportive, and even, you know, would will me to do that rather than push through and not feel like I'm there. And I think it can be obvious sometimes as well if you're pushing yourself and you're not quite there, and you know, mental health wise. I guess that kind of wraps it up. I feel like I've just been waffling for however long, but I mean, that is like the gist of it, I guess. I think part of it as well, I mean, there's so many parts of this. I could probably find more and more things to talk about if I kept on going. But there's like, I love having a project. So the fact that I get to keep myself busy with something that I genuinely love doing as well, and I haven't gotten bored of 1 year later, because I can get bored of things quite quickly, is great for me. I've also always wanted to do my own thing. So whenever people have been like, "Oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years?" I'm like, you know, well, ideally, I'd like to just be working for myself eventually, and Twitch is like a little insight into that, I guess. I'm learning a lot of things that I didn't, you know, apart from like the live streaming elements, there's just so much other stuff. You become like a social media manager, and you become like, you know, you have to deal with all your emails in regards to like, I don't know, sponsorships, and like it's just a whole different world for me. And I'm like a sponge sometimes. I love learning new things, especially when I feel very passionate about them. So yeah, I'm doing that, and I'd like you to thank you all again for sticking around for this almost 1 year of me at Twitch. If you'd like to celebrate my anniversary on Twitch with me, I'm planning to do a 12-hour stream on the 31st of March, starting at 12 p.m., I reckon. So around noon. That's the bank holiday in the UK, by the way, so you don't have to worry about having to work, I guess, unless you work in an industry where you do work on a bank holiday. I hope to see a lot of you there. Also, thanks again for 1,000 subs on YouTube. It'll be back to the normal schedule next week. So Alien episode 3 I will bring out next week, and then I will go back to every second week with that. I just wanted to do this now as it was timely. It's something I've wanted to do for a while. So yeah. Thanks for listening to my waffling. I hope it wasn't too dull. And I hope you had a bit of an insight into me, I guess. I hope you like, subscribe, and I'll see you in a future video. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.